Abusuya Nana Akomea akase way back in February last year and omuhu say Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia elusi 2024 elections no mepese ebeko ni akwa nchiremu afri odon aho saa so ene wa chiremu aka ni pain say so aka say lose a Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia any MPP lose ye no wa recover pa free mu dia no oboa still wo chiremu a ya one de ewom pa na why disappointed esan say still onu de nanko susu say Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia and betime bu Ghana. Have you recovered from that huge blow Ghanaians?
No, I haven't recovered. The main reason why I haven't recovered is the lost opportunity. I still think that Bawumia has the best ideas in terms of turning the country around. So that's my biggest disappointment.
But Nana, you've been doing politics since the Rawlings era. This would be the biggest defeat a party has ever suffered, I think. I'm not sure whether Edubuahin or John Kofi.
It is still a defeat.
Yeah, but I'm just looking at the magnitude, because you see, people would say, "Oh, we expected them to lose," but not this. At what point in the night did you give up completely and realize that no, this is a lost cause?
Okay. Do you know the second biggest defeat?
No.
It came in 2016. You know, and at that point, even publicly, the family members of John Mahama were saying that there's no way that he's going to come back. But
I don't remember any John Mahama family members.
8 years down, they Google it. 8 years down the line.
Which of them said that?
Oh, I said Google it. 8 years down the line, there he is back with the biggest victory. So it is not. And let me also tell you, in 1997, the NPP had 61 members of parliament. We had lost by almost
out of 200.
Out of 200. The NDC had 133. So we're even less than half their number. And we had lost elections by about 2 million votes in 1996. Against Rawlings. And yet in 4 years, we became the majority. So I'm not too worried about the victory or the scale of it. Now, in terms of knowing when we lost, yes, we have a very robust system headed by Joe Anochi of the NCA. It's a very robust system that gives you, it tracks the results coming polling station by polling station. So from 7 p.m. it started tracking. By the time we were about 2,500, 3,000 polling stations, we were actually leading. Bawumia had about 50%, John Mahama had about 45%. But by 9:30, 10 p.m., it had turned, and Mahama was ahead. And it wasn't going back and forth between the two of them. It was just going Mahama's way. So, say Bawumia had 45.38, Mahama had 50.1, and then another 20 minutes, there's an update, Mahama goes 50.3, Bawumia reduces. So when it kept being like that, we knew that it wasn't going to go our way. So by 11 p.m. That night, we knew it wasn't going to go our way.
So you actually collated the results. You had your own collation.
But you know, we have the record. We did the same in 2016.
2016 you did, but 2024 you haven't come up with anything, which means that either your system crashed or you failed at collating your own
Why
results.
do you think the flag bearer Bawumia conceded when even the Electoral Commission had not announced a single result? Because we're collecting.
I'll come so we talk about his concession. But before then, I've seen publications suggesting that you have said that you knew you were losing as way back as February. Why did you waste everybody's time?
No, that is not true. I mean, you know, the funny thing about media, and it applies to all of you media, more especially these bloggers and so on. The news is not what you say. The news is what they report.
What did you say?
It's not true.
What did you say?
I was asked a question, same, that, so what did our research tell us? I mean, how did we miss this big loss? I said, well, not only, even NDC missed this big win, because they are equally surprised by the scale of the win as we are surprised by the scale of the loss. We've been tracking every month. When we started the active tracking this year, February, March, Mahama was leading by nearly 10%. But that was before we launched our campaign and Bawumia got into some serious campaigning. Now, as we kept tracking, by September, October, we were quite close. and we thought that our West performance would be a runoff. But when we started the tracking 10 months earlier, Mahama was about 10 percentage points. This is what has been interpreted to mean saying that we knew we had lost in February.
So it's accurate then to say that in February, if there was an election, you would have lost.
Yes.
That one you were certain.
Yes.
But as of September, October,
we had closed the gap.
But you were still not in a comfortable lead.
No.
So you were hoping for a runoff.
We knew that our West result would be a runoff.
Was that when
because we had made look at Bawumia's work rate, visiting every constituency, and then in the last 1 month,
trying to overturn 10 percentage lead.
Yes, and the tracking showed us that we're overturning it. We're catching up. And you look at the last 1 month, the optimism that came with some of the commissioners that are present. So we had recovered quite a bit, and we thought that we would at West we could do a runoff.
But as
it was going to be, if there was going to be a victory by either side, it was going to be narrow.
But as of election day, when you did your final check with this your tracking, you did not see Bawumia in the lead.
As of the final tracking at the end of November, we were neck and neck.
That's what you saw.
Yes.
Unfortunately, that neck and neck did not show up in the results for you.
No, it didn't.
So where did your tracking falter? Was your tracking too hopeful?
Everybody's, tracking is only a projection. Everybody's tracking faulted. Even NDC's tracking faulted. They didn't expect. We all knew what.
Musa Dankwa's tracking didn't fault.
I haven't studied his, but I hear that his was fairly accurate.
Fairly, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's what I hear. I haven't.
Your people poo-pooed him. Do you think with hindsight?
Listen, I officially, we don't poo-poo any opinion survey. If an opinion survey tells us that we are ahead, it means that we must double up so the person behind us doesn't catch up. And when you are ahead, you can see behind you. So you just have to keep running very, 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 very hard. If the opinion survey tells us that we are behind, then it tells us that we must catch up. So whatever the opinion survey says, we take it in good faith and keep on doing what we are doing.
Let's talk about that concession on at 9 a.m. on the 8th, was it 8th of December, when Dr. Bawumia, I'm not sure, were you there in the house that day when they did the announcement?
No.
What went into that decision to concede? It's not a usual thing with our elections. This is something that happens in America. Somebody will call somebody and say, yeah, I've lost, congratulations.
It has never happened. It's historic. It is absolutely
No, I think
historic.
John Mahama conceded in 2016 even before the declaration.
That's not possible.
Very well, I have to check.
That's not possible.
What went into that decision to concede?
No, because of the robustness of the collation that we have. So like I'm saying to you, by 11 p.m. the previous night,
you knew it was gone.
We knew it was gone.
Yeah, but still, you made a decision to announce at 9 a.m. Were there, who had to be consulted? Were there pushbacks that no, let's not concede now, because conceding...
No, our system is so robust that...
It was unriggable.
Yes. What do you mean riggable? We didn't plan rigging. It was unbridgeable.
Okay.
That where Mahama was leading us by about 6-7 percentage points.
There was no way you could overturn that.
There was no way we could overturn that.
Yeah, but I'm saying that still, for a concession speech, it is not an easy thing to do. Was it a difficult thing? Did you face stiff opposition from within? People who say, no way, don't wait till the EC chairman makes the announcement.
All the main players, and when I say the main players, those who needed to be consulted,
were consulted.
They were there at the war room,
and they agreed.
No, they all could see that. We have a big screen, that's like this opposite wall. Everybody could see it,
and they saw how hopeless the situation was.
We saw that the situation was not, and so we thought that it was more dignified to concede. And you see, the Electoral Commission not even declared one result. It's never happened. But our system is so robust that the man was confident that we had to. And look at the plaudits, the international kudos that the country is getting
For that.
for that. As for West Africa, they are beside themselves. That how is it possible that for a government, the candidate of the government in office is actually conceding even before the electoral commissioner? It's a wonderful thing.
Did Nana Akufo-Addo agree to this concession?
He didn't object.
Did he say anything to the contrary? Did he agree with the concession?
Well, when I was present, he didn't say anything to the contrary.
He was in the war room there.
Clearly, yeah, he was in the war room.
So Kufuor agreed that let's go ahead and do it.
I don't know about Kufuor. Kufuor wasn't there.
But Akufo-Addo agreed.
He was in the war room.
Okay.
And Akufo-Addo, no matter what you say, is a Democrat to the core.
What about Dr. Matthew Opoku-Prempeh? Why was he not at the concession speech?
We are looking at what has befallen us, a lot of sorrow, especially when you look at the work that Dr. Bawumia had put in the last 8 months or so, and the circumstances, all of that coming to the end in a few 2-3 short hours, coming to an end the previous night, and that whole night, the decision to concede and making the arrangements, the necessary consultations and so on. We are not now going to look at who is there and who is not there.
No, you would have to look at who is there, especially if that who is there was going to be the number 2 gentleman of the land.
No, I didn't. I wasn't going to inquire as to why he wasn't there.
You didn't think the
president wasn't there?
You didn't. Well, the president was not on the ballot, but it's a constitutional requirement for a presidential candidate to have a running mate.
Yes.
The running mate is crucial. And that's why you went to unveil him and give him to one of the most powerful chiefs in this country.
I don't see any meaning in it at all.
No, his absence would be interpreted to mean he did not agree with the concession.
Why would you interpret it that way?
Because his absence shows that.
Napo, no matter what you say, Napo is quite a forthright person. And I am sure.
So that forthrightness showed in his absence.
No, we are on very, very key platforms. And I'm sure if he felt that there needed to be some time, he would have said something on some of those platforms.
He didn't object.
Being physically not present, could be anything. He may not have been feeling well, the shock was maybe too much, whatever. But I do not think that he wasn't present because he disagreed. The results were very clear.
But he issued a statement several days later. Was that necessary for a running mate to issue a statement after the presidential candidate conceded 12 hours into the election?
He also has his constituency. So if he needed to speak to his constituency, that's fine. I would have done the same.
There are people who say that the defeat was not Bawumia's defeat, but Akufo-Addo's defeat. What's your view?
What conclusion we can come to at this moment is to look at the results. The results clearly show that about 2 million people who voted NPP in 2020 elections did not vote for NPP in 2024, but 2 million. The NDC got about 6.2 something, and they got in 2020, and they got about 6.3. So it's reasonable to assume that their supporters turned up, and they got a few more, maybe another 100,000 or so. Our votes reduced from 6.7 in 2020 to 4.6. Those 2 million people, we don't find them anywhere. We don't find them voting for John Mahama. We don't find them voting for Alan Cheremantin and so on. So it is fair to assume that they stayed away. That is a fact. What we now need to do is to find out the reason, some of the key reasons that made them stay away. Because they didn't even go to the polls to vote for the party. Now, in every polling station, we have the register, and our people, we had 15 election workers in every polling station. In every polling station, we have 15 5 executives and then 10 appointed to assist them, who were working for the party on the day of polling. Some of them, we call them the get out the vote. They knew our supporters in the polling station. Each polling station have about 700 people, and they know our supporters because they live there in the polling station. And they were supposed to go and bring our supporters out called it a get out the vote. So anytime a voter came, these people would tick the name. So the people who didn't come to vote, we can identify them in the register for the polling stations. Oh, we know Umaru is our member. Umaru's name is not ticked.
He didn't show up.
He didn't show up.
This outside the electoral commission's taking that someone has voted. You also have a parallel register where you are taking your party members.
No, not party members.
People you expect to come and vote for you, or people who expect to come and vote. Which one is it that you are taking?
No. Umaru, if you came to a polling station, your name and everything, they will take your name.
That's what I'm saying.
Now they know the names of party people in there.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So you knew your party members who would come and vote for you.
We know the party members whose names were not ticked. It means they didn't vote.
They didn't vote.
If we speak to 20 of them per polling station across the country, we will get a fair idea of why they didn't come to vote.
When are you going to start this process of finding out why you lost?
Oh, let's chop Christmas and New Year then, and then we have 2 years to reorganize the party. So
time no day.
2 years is quite a long. Look, even a week is a long time in politics. But like I've told you, from what we have, we can have the polling station work done because the people can be identified. So we are not just going to do a blanket speaking to people at random. You can actually know from the register the party members in the polling station who didn't come to vote.
So you go to them and query
them.
You
go to them directly and speak to them and let them tell you why. And if we do even 20 per polling station times the 40,000 polling stations, we can distill the key reasons why. So it will be at that point that we would know whether it's because of Nana Akomea they didn't go to vote or because of somebody.
But even before that, you would have a fair idea that your government became very unpopular. This is a verdict on your government. And the government is headed by one man. And Dr. Bawumia was that man's running mate.
The economic situation in particular wasn't in our favor. And we know that...
You mismanaged the country. That's the simple English term. And people have punished you at the polls. Admit it.
To be fair to us, you would also agree that in our first 3 years, the period between 2017 to 2019...
That is history. Past glory, they call it. It's like Manchester United. It's useless now.
Yeah, but if you give me 2 seconds,
okay.
You would agree that in the first 3 years between 2017 and 2019, our performance as far as the economy was concerned in Ghana was spectacular. In fact, it was world class. And then our growth rates were some of the highest in the whole world. After 2020, 2021, 2022, it got bad.
Nana, you blamed COVID into the election. Are you going to blame it after the election still?
It's a major factor.
Because Ghanaians are reasonable beings. They would have seen if truly and indeed COVID and Ukraine was the reason for the crisis, they would not punish you the way they did. Clearly, the Ghanaians think otherwise.
But it is not by accident that the difficulties came when COVID came. It is not by accident. And it's not just Ghana, to be fair. I mean, you are an international media person. You consume international media.
Yeah.
And you know that similar things, like in the United Kingdom, they had about 4 or 5 prime ministers in a couple of months because of the same issue about Ghanaian was the finance minister at one point, and all of us were proud of it, and then in 2 weeks he lost his job all because of this trouble. So, but you see, you suffer because of it.
Yeah, but the thing is, people expect you to be humbled and say that yes, we were wrong, we would learn. And I think I've heard that in 1 or 2 of the speeches. But what you're saying tonight doesn't sound like, listen, we are sorry.
We admitted that the economic situation was very difficult. The president admitted it on several occasions, State of the Nation address and so on. Bawumia himself admitted it. Many people like myself, speaking to you, I admitted that the economic situation was very tough.
You're confident that your party will recover based on the history 96-2000, but there are going to be internal fights. What happens to Dr. Bawumia after now?
Well, it's a bit too early, but it is fair to say that he's the front runner based on the fact that he's the incumbent. And so he's the front runner. If he decides to run, I'm sure he'll make an effort to keep his machinery together. And I'm a key part of his machinery. And if he decides to run, and we'll all help him in keeping the machine together. But it's a bit too early There's still 2 more years.
For you, let's wait for after Bawumia before we
chose our flag bearer. No, I think after Bawumia, we're going to start from polling stations. How many? 40,000 polling stations. They go to 275 constituencies, go to 16 regions, national before. So when we do the research, if the polling station structure is an issue that alienated people, it will come out.
Okay.
If it is the constituency structure, if it's the treatment by the MP, if it's the government's performance, whatever, we will be teased out from that research, and then we would factor it in our planning for the next 2 years.
We need to go.